What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Just moments after Ohio State has captured the national championship, a 31-23 victory over your Fighting Irish. I'm Mike Singer, live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The scene here in this beautiful stadium is one that Notre Dame fought their asses off till the very, very end. And, just quick reaction from me. And please let me know if you guys hear me okay in the YouTube, on the YouTube show here. But just one that Notre Dame fought. They fought. They started the game hot. Ohio State went on that run, and it was a little too late for Notre Dame to just make this comeback. And this was something for me when I predicted this game. My heart said Notre Dame 24-23. My brain said about Ohio State 31-17. I just thought that this was an Ohio State team that if they got up, it would be too difficult to come back on the Buckeyes, and that is what we saw today. Notre Dame, they did come back, but Ohio State just built too much of a lead. So I'll turn it over to Tim Hyde. Initial reaction to this game, Tim.
Just turning on the computer. I didn't know it was ready to go, but no, I mean, what are you going to say, right? Ohio State, better football team over the course of 60 minutes. It started out amazing, obviously, one of the greatest drives in Notre Dame history, just pounding the rock down there. And then, the Buckeyes, 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. You hear a lot about the middle 8. Everyone's hyping that up, and they go 14-0 in that period. So there's your 14 points right before halftime and right the third quarter. And then you take a pause, and Notre Dame fights like hell. All right, that's got to be. The storyline is Ohio State's a hell of a football team, heck of a football team. They brought back all their guys. It's funny. I was writing them down before the game, Mike. That 2021 class had like 8 5-stars, and they all came back. Instead of going to the NFL, they came back. They're a preseason number 2 behind. I think Georgia was number 1, so they're preseason number 2. Everyone picked them to be here, and that's where they ended up. So, but as a Notre Dame fan, man, how can you not be proud of this team? What they did this playoffs, the run since NIU. And then they fought like hell, Mike, to get back into this football game. You look at it, they gift Ohio State a field goal, and Mitch Jeter shakes a 30-yard field goal, for crying out loud. So there's, a drive right there. All of a sudden, it's a 1-touchdown game, or I think it would have been 6 points. But as life goes, at the end of the day, they got arguably the best player in the country, right? Jeremiah Smith. When you look at him on the outside, and what does he do? It's third and long, and I'm going to go catch a 40-yard bomb to win the football game. So, we can sit here and yap a ton, but, we'll talk, have fun, see what the chat's going, see what questions you have, what people want to talk about. But congrats to Ryan Day. Congrats to Ohio State. Hell of a football game. Hell of a run by Notre Dame. But I want to say real quick is, come on, man. Marcus Freeman, for what he did in year 3, there's obviously a lot of players that, this program still needs to get over the hump and win it at certain positions that we've talked about nonstop for years. But they're close. Dude, they haven't been this close since 93. So they are close. And I've been saying it for the 2 years. I've said it even more since NIL. Notre Dame could win a title in this era. I truly believe it, and it will happen.
Yeah. ND Dunn 22-6. Appreciate the super chat. Briz X, appreciate the super chat. Ryan said, good season, rough first half, lots to look forward to in the future. Tex ND says, I don't feel we were competitive. I don't know what you feel. Do you feel anything? Like, what the hell are you talking about? We weren't competitive. It was 34. I think I said 31-23 at the start of this, but I mean, that was a very competitive football game.
It wasn't for 2 quarters.
It wasn't for 2 quarters. Notre Dame got the shit beat out of them in that middle 8 that everyone likes to talk about, Tim. But it was very competitive. Notre Dame fought their absolute asses off late. Riley Leonard having the best passing game of his life. Notre Dame didn't turn the ball over. Jaden Greathouse, where has that been? Tim, we went all season, no 100-yard receiver, and then Greathouse does it in back-to-back games, and I thought was tremendous tonight. And I think his first catch was that touchdown, if I'm recalling correctly. So he emerged. I think if you're Jaden Greathouse, the vibes are extremely high for you going into next season.
Well, they were
as a receiver, right? One.
Exactly. They were coming into this season, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. I mean, we talked about this all spring, all summer. He's got the makeup of being the guy, and he showed it the last couple of games. It's funny. I didn't have time to look it up, Mike, but I literally have a sticky note down in my football office. Find the last wide receiver to have back-to-back receiving yards, 100 yards, excuse me. It's got to be Claypool in 2019, I'm assuming. Obviously, last year they only had one with Flores. Before that, in 2021, it was all Mayer. So as far as a wide receiver, it's got to be Claypool. So that's literally was one of my homework assignments. I didn't have time to check it out, but kudos to him. There's just so many emotions in the game. The first half was just like, it was Clemson. It was literally like watching Clemson. Clemson scored right before halftime. Obviously, Julian Love was out. They have 2 big passes for touchdowns. They're just owning the game, the same rhythm in this thing. Notre Dame comes out, plays his tail off. That opening drive was just magical. And then the story of the game, Mike, holy crap. The second drive, man, Bo Collins goes, illegal motion. They go back 5 yards. Then Bo Collins, it's 2nd and 15, catches the 14-yard pass on the deep crosser. Jagasaw with a hold, knocks him back. So all of a sudden, instead of 3rd and 1, it's 2nd and 25. They got a punt, and Ohio State goes right down the field and scores. Then you get that third drive. Boom, first, efficient play on number 1, 5-yard run. Then it's an incomplete, and then the snap hits Mitch Evans right on the freaking back-to-back 3-and-out punts. There's the ball. That's all the momentum, obviously, going into halftime. And that second drive was the killer, man. 20 yards and penalties. You can't do a damn thing. So, and Ohio State, and then obviously the 70-yard run off of Duo, just great cutback. And it's funny, the D-line, just real quick on that, is you got Josh Burnham, converted Mike Backer playing DN, gets pancaked. Heinisch gets pancaked. Bryce Young's out there getting walled out by the right tackle, and Cross, who, let's be honest, he's playing with one ankle, is blown backwards 5-6 yards. And Bowen and Kaiser, just horrible fits, 70-yard touchdown, and 2 plays later touchdown, excuse me. But you're right, Mike. They battled their asses back to get into this. They just keep competing. I think that's a testament to Freeman and what he's done, and you can't lose sight of that. They got owned for that period, the second and the opening third quarter, and then they played their butts off. They played their butts off, man. They had 1st and goal with no points, and then they go right back and score again. So, a hell of a lot of fight, man. You were sitting there as Notre Dame fans, angry as hell, Oh, and then
Tim,
31. Just go ahead. Go ahead. I got 17 thoughts going.
A Brian Kelly Notre Dame team, I think, folds in that game. So many super chats, by the way, guys. Donnie, appreciate the 100 bomb. Absolutely incredible. Looking for a comment from you, Donnie. Tim, can you hear me okay? Can you hear all of this happening?
I don't hear anything out there. I only hear you.
Okay. All right. That's good. I was talking a little loud, so I apologize. Some guy said, Mike, you're waking up my kids. Sorry about that. Donnie, appreciate it. Keith, thank you for the 28. Love this team. Garsh, thanks for a great season, boys. Dropping dimes. Appreciate the 5. Michael Miller, I appreciate the 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think a Brian Kelly team folds. I do. Freeman got these boys absolutely rallying. The first drive, Tim, if me and you in the off season, let's just, when we break down this game, let's maybe just do the first drive, then turn it off, because that thing was absolutely beautiful. But Ohio State was just too good. So Tim, there's two schools of thought going to this game. I talked about this in the very open of this video, and I apologize for saying 31-23 if I said that. Obviously 34-23. The game was either going to go, Notre Dame was going to gritty this game out and win a high teens, low 20s game, or Ohio State was going to do that. Notre Dame got it to 8 points, but Ohio State won by 2 scores, and that's kind of what my brain was telling me, that Ohio State was going to jump out. Penn State jumped to 10-0, right? 10-0 is manageable. They kicked the field goal, 10-3 going into halftime. That's manageable. But Tim, what they go up, 31-7? I mean, Notre Dame fought their asses off, but you are not going to come back from that if you're Notre Dame.
No, and that's after the Angeli out route that Faison on the punt. So that's what I'm saying. You gift. It's 28-7. They're right there with it. 4th and 1. They do the fake punt. It's a first down, buddy. It's right there. Catch it. First down. They get some mojo.
Not the perfect, but Jordan Faison catches that football.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a tough catch because he's diving. It's down low, all those things, but he's right there. You know what I mean? That's the play. It's a down. It's like throwing a outside fastball on the corner. It's right there. You got to catch it. And then that's what I'm saying. You give Ohio State 3 points, and then Notre Dame's first and goal inside the 10 was 0 points because Mitch Jeter doinks it off the goalpost. So there's a 6-point change right there, especially like you're saying, when they get the momentum on defense, the strip by Drake Bowen. Obviously, Riley Leonard gets hot. All those things. I know another big thing is the Jeremiah Love. I mean, let's be honest. He's not healthy. I mean, come on. He hasn't been healthy since the big touchdown run. I think I saw where they were talking on the broadcast. Notre Dame didn't even have a double-digit run today, so everything was fighting like mad, tooth and nail for every inch out there. But that's Ohio State. They have the number 1 defense in the country, and they're old and fast and talented as could be. And I saw they're probably going to have 8-10 guys drafted in the first 2 rounds in the draft. They're super, super talented. But you're right, man. They just kept battling. They came back. They cut it down to 1 score. They do the all-out blitz. They checked in the TNT. They put the 2. Bowen goes outside. They're basically in bear cover 0. Schuler and Watts have the hip tight end, and the running back. Hurd's in at nickel because Clark is out. He's got the slot, and then you got your 2 corners. I thought Gray and Moore played their absolute tail off. Chip Kelly was dialing it up. Let's go to that real quick in the first half. He was on freaking fire.
So
whatever he called, they got.
Tim, I could barely hear you. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say whatever Chip Kelly wanted to do, he did. He did that for so many drives, just dialing things up. But at the end of the day, man, it's 3rd and 11. You got a chance to get the ball back. Ohio State out, they're like, all right, they're gonna heat us. They go max protection. It's just cover 0, and it's my future top 3 pick in the NFL draft over Christian Gray, as life goes.
We got news real quick, Tim. Report from Ian Rappaport. Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden has emerged as the top candidate to be the Bengals' new defensive coordinator. Coach Zach Taylor has been waiting for the national championship to end before moving forward. Now that it has, he can speak with Golden and work through it. Rappaport added it was a long wait, but Notre Dame kept winning all the way to the national championship before tonight's loss to Ohio State. Now the Bengals can speak with Al Golden for its DC job, so I don't think anyone's really shocked by that.
He's gone tomorrow. I mean, I said that on the show last week. He's gone Tuesday after the game ends. And kudos to him, man. He's been. I mean, there's people wanted him fired in year 1, and he's got the best back-to-back defensive seasons since Era's year, let's say. I mean, 88, 89 were awesome. 92, 93 were great defensive back-to-backs. But in this day and age, they have a scheme. They have a system They believe in what they do. They got the players to do what they do. They're not going to change. So Al Golden was coaching tight ends a couple years ago in Detroit, and then he obviously goes to the Bengals, coaches backers, and you know him, Mickens, Freeman, Al Washington, obviously coming over from Ohio State, where he was the LB coach. They got together and they said, bam, you got to have a philosophy. And I think looking now back over these 3 years, there's definitely a philosophy on what they want to do. So now is that going to carry into year 4? And the big question is going to be quarterback, and we'll be diving into that soon enough because I put it down here on one of my notes. Mike Denbrock's never coached a quarterback who can't run. So I am dying to see what Notre Dame is next year, especially, who the hell is their Jeremiah Smith? But they're not going to have a running quarterback. So I'm dying to see what they're going to do next year. But you and I are going to get into that plenty enough.
Mike Boylston, really appreciate the super generous $200 super chat. The chat is flying like crazy. So, Mike, I did not see any follow-up comment from you. I'll be looking out for you, but thank you very, very, very much. And then Donnie White, again, to you as well. Thank you for the $100 super chat. Chat just keeps on moving. Hags, Hector, Tyler Fisher, Rocco, Chris, Skifoot, Juicy J, Justin, and John. Appreciate the super chats, everybody. Trying to pop these all up on the screen. Just do not have. Can you hear that now, Tim?
I don't hear anything in the background.
Easy. I can barely hear myself think. It is so loud. So this cancellation of background noise that this application has is crazy because it is loud.
I can hear like a microphone in the back, but really, I barely hear it.
Tim, real quick, Tyler said thoughts on the cover 0 on the big Jeremiah Smith play. I mean,
it's
just one of those.
It's third and 11. They're running the ball. They're killing clock. They've already made Notre Dame use their timeouts. It's 3rd and 11. They got an 8-point lead. They're gonna like I saw Ryan Day said real quick. They had a double call ready in case. If they got cover 0, which they kicked into bear, so Will Howard's automatically thinking cover 0 because you can't bracket, you can't play too high in that scheme. So he knew right away it was cover 0. They got Jeremiah Smith. It's like, and Gray's playing 10 yards off, dump it. So he was obviously disguised in a cover 3, trying to make him throw the hitch, which they did earlier a couple times to Smith, just threw it underneath when Gray gave him some cushion. But man, that was a big play. But those are playmakers. Will Howard, I mean, he's got to be the MVP of this game. Was unbelievable. It's going back a year ago when Notre Dame was looking at Riley Leonard.
Will Howard?
Will Howard has to be the MVP, right? I thought Will Howard was he was a stud today. He was all over. I mean, his decision making is so quick. I know people will say, "Well, he's got great football players." Yeah, of course. So did Magic Johnson as he's passing. I was a Laker guy, obviously, back in the day. But his decision making, he was so quick with the ball and knew where to go. He had eight scrambles or 8 first down runs today. I can't believe Notre Dame did not think he was a runner, which drove me nuts. They gave up contain a half a dozen times today on Riley Leonard, Will Howard. No contain whatsoever, just free runs that just kept drives alive. So, that was frustrating. But go ahead. What else we got?
Jeff, really appreciate the $100 super chat. Thank you for great season. Thanks, Mike, for taking a great partnership the entire year. We're not going anywhere.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes,
yeah, we'll have a show here in a couple days. Goolsby's traveling a lot. I don't know when I'll do my post game or post national championship show with Goolsby, but that will be coming soon. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video if you haven't done so yet. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Maybe you just stumbled upon this channel for the first time. Please subscribe. We do a lot of stuff, and just because it's now the off season, it's really just the beginning. Coaching changes. Spring ball will be here before you know it. But we'll be talking about the 2025 season, the quarterback battle. So yeah, definitely walk into this this YouTube channel. I would like to touch on Christian Gray real quick.
Sure.
He, like, I looked over to Kyle Pelly and I was during the game and I said, what did really people expect? Like, if you thought that Notre Dame was going to win and they were going to play that cover one like they have been all season, right? And Christian Gray's going to be on an island with these guys. This is what was going to happen. Like, if the D-line did not get home, like if Notre Dame wasn't able to get pressure, this is what was always going to happen.
What happened? Oh, I'll talk. No, I was going to say, as far as Christian Gray goes, if anything, they played a ton of zone early on. You could tell they were playing zone because Will Howard was like, all right, boom, I'm going to throw it under here. Buka is a stud, man. My God. I wish that guy would have went for it. That guy's been an ND killer the last couple of years, just catching drag routes, first downs, super, super talented football player. But, I mean, they played a ton of zone early on, and then they almost like got away from some of that, started going back to what they're what they've done, which is playing man. And I was saying that the other day. It's like, don't go away from what you've done. If anything, you can play man. I thought they did. I mean, those wide receivers are NFL football players. That's, as Notre Dame fans, we don't have that. So we don't get to see those guys each and every week. And they got NFL guys. That's why, even going back on the 3rd and 11, it's Max Pro. You do an all-out blitz. Everybody's picked up. So it's one-on-one, and Will Howard throws a perfect pass. So you could it's tough because it's a perfect pass. If that thing's off target, whatever, boom, it's 4th down. They get the ball back down by 8. You know what I mean? Go down and score, get the 2-pointer. It's a perfect pass, and they threw it to a stud. They threw it to the Michael Floyd, the Golden Tate, the Clay, guys like that Notre Dame's had in the past. So Notre Dame needs to get one of those guys. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut my microphone unplugged. But yeah, like it's just one of those things. Like, what did people expect? Like, other than what we've seen all season. Like, I didn't expect Christian Gray to come out, and if he was going to be targeted like that, like, this is what I expected. And the 3rd down bomb is like, you would expect that if you're Christian Gray, you're expecting a run or maybe a short throw. Like, I don't know if he was or short to intermediate throw. I don't know if he was expecting they're going to throw a bomb on me. That was just a risk that he took, Al Golden took, and it didn't for Notre Dame. But I don't think that play is the big talking point from the game.
Oh.
The big talking point from this game is, Tim, let me pull up the drive chart, because it was
80-yard drives. They couldn't get off the field. There was a point Howard was like 8 for 8 on 3rd downs. It's like,
Tim, look at this. Oh yeah, no pass rush, by the way. Nothing really to write home about, but
yeah, I want to talk. I'll get into that in a minute.
Touchdown, field goal, the fumble, right?
Yes, a punt,
and then
they never got stopped. I mean, look at the drive: 75, 76, 80, 75, 61 at the end for the field goal. Even the fumble, they had 54 yards. They could not stop Ohio State, and that's, I said it. Everyone, either likes it or not, as life goes. Ohio State has a Michigan problem. They don't have a problem with anyone else. They have a Michigan problem. They're a shanked field goal away from beating Georgia 2 years ago, and they probably win the national title. They don't get into it last year because they lose to Michigan, and they got to go do a crappy bowl. Well, year 6 for them, it's crappy. So they didn't even have a chance to play. If there was a 12-team playoff last year, they probably win the damn thing. So that's how much talent they had last year. And then they're all going pro if they won it last year. So instead, they all rallied. They all came back. So that's the team. That's what Penn State's doing right now. Penn State guys are like, oh, I'm coming back. So Notre Dame's in this position. I think guys are losing sight of this because they brought back their guys as well. Mills, Cross, oh my God, Kaiser, obviously. You bring back
on that point, Marcus Freeman.
Go ahead.
I read a tweet from Tyler Horka. Marcus Freeman says this group of Notre Dame players left this Fighting Irish program a better place. Quote, I'm proud of what they've done. I'm proud of who they are. I was proud to be on this journey with them. Quote from Freeman's press conference. And as quotes come in from the press conference, I'll read them on the show. And just so you guys know, if you missed it, Al Golden has emerged as the top candidate to become the Bengals defensive coordinator. With that news coming out literally moments, seconds, minutes from this game ending, that kind of tells you, that, hey, he's going to interview. He's one of two finalists, and I'm sure he's the favorite to become the Bengals' new defensive coordinator. So if that's the case, we'll talk about that. It's not the most appropriate time to talk about it in this show. We'll talk about this game, but I would think that Mike Mickens has a really good chance to become the defensive coordinator, and then you would probably hire another defensive backs coach because Notre Dame already has a linebackers coach. Golden didn't have a specific position he coached. You had Max Bulla as one of the 10 assistant coaches with the linebackers. Mickens was running the defensive secondary by himself. So, again, something we'll dive into more at a later point. Tammy, just kind of start going through some notes. I want to mention this atmosphere was absolutely incredible. So at the Orange Bowl, I complained that you had these big glass windows here that would just block it, soundproof. So you can't feel the stadium, you can't hear anything. This is open, so it is so loud. The Notre Dame fan, I would say, was about 60-40 Ohio State, maybe between 60-40 to 65-35 from Ohio State to Notre Dame fans. But I thought the Notre Dame fans brought it tonight. Yep. Really good energy. The Ohio State fans, got to be honest, they were incredible all night too. A lot of energy, a lot of chants. Yes. The energy was great. I mean, at this stadium, I've been in here countless times, but obviously never seen anything quite like this. And the view from the press box is amazing. And Tim, I will make sure to grab you a couple of souvenirs as you like.
You're the man.
Those up here.
I mean, real quick, watching on watching on TV, the atmosphere is unbelievable. It was loud as could be. The energy, like when Notre Dame at the beginning that place was loud, and then when they got back, it was loud at the end. And and the Buckeyes, I've been to two Fiesta Bowls, the 05 and the 15 season ones, and those Buckeyes, man, those they travel. They just travel. They must put everything on credit card and travel because they go.
And speaking of traveling, I met so many Notre Dame fans today. I was at Goolsby's tailgate, and I told the fans what I opened the show with, that I think that Notre Dame loses. My heart was that Notre Dame would win by a point. That's what I predicted, but I was like, man, in my brain, this Ohio State team's it's a tough matchup for Notre Dame, man. Those receivers, Penn State was all right, your best player on offense, tight ends, and running backs. Notre Dame can stop that. Notre Dame can have success with that. But Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Buka-Tim, Quinshon Judkins is incredible. And it was really interesting, how often Ohio State's running backs would go out for passes, especially down the field. You would see Drake Bowen running 30 yards downfield. You're like, ooh, man, hopefully Will Howard doesn't check that. I thought Ohio State, Tim, Chip Kelly called an incredible game. They were super prepared. I jotted down one instance where, Xavier Watts was talking to KVA before a snap about, who was covering Carnell Tate in the slot. Carnell Tate was guarded by Kingston on a crossing route. Kingston actually covered him well. But that couldn't have been by design. Hey, let's have our inside linebacker on Carnell Tate, a 5-star type receiver when he was a recruit. Ohio State, I thought this was just a game that was not set up well for Notre Dame. That offense, Tim, was a very good. Howard took care of the ball. The running backs were great. And, Tim, there was one key moment for me. Let me look at when it was, and then I'll let you chit-chat for a little bit, Tim. It was late in the first half. So Ohio State would have been up 14-7. Travion Henderson, I just talked about the running backs going out a lot, was on a wheel. Watts read it all of the way, right? Reads it all of the way. He's got his head turned around, and he's running with Henderson on the wheel. And, Lewis, thank you for the 50 bomb, man. That is absolutely incredible. You guys have been incredible with these super chats. Rocco, Joe, Mr. Curry, again, Jeff Moore, really appreciate you guys. Watts has his head around. He goes up, Tim, to make the pick, and it just comes down as a PBU. And it's a lot to ask, hey, Xavier Watts, make that incredible play to pick that ball off. That is a lot to ask of him. But Notre Dame needed that. They needed Jordan Faison to catch that ball on the punt, the fake punt pass. They needed everything to go, not maybe everything to go their way, but they had to make big plays, and they did not do it enough. They just did not do it enough. Greathouse and Leonard definitely did in that fourth quarter, Tim, but that middle eight and everything, I mean, they just gave Ohio State too much. The penalties as well, Tim. Let me pull up the penalty stats. Notre Dame, let's see, penalties. 3 for 30 is not too bad, but it seemed like their penalties were just in really bad spots.
That one drive, and it was 7-7. You get the ball back for the first time since you just went 10-minute drive to kill the whole the whole first quarter. Ohio State just is in the middle of their first drive. The first quarter ends. It's like, all right, commercial, and they get the ball. That drive was the killer. Buckeye scored to answer. Notre Dame gets the ball back. Illegal motion by Collins, who it's a running play, by the way. It's a freaking running play. They're going to run power off tackle, and he jumps. It's like, dude, you can sit there and fall down. Don't jump. And they're going to pick up yards. And then the next one, like it says, it's the holding by Jagasaw, which takes away a 13, 14-yard catch by Collins on the deep crosser. But going back to the drive, it's 14-7, Mike. They got to punt again. Notre Dame's got to punt again. Back-to-back 3-and-outs. You get Drake Bowen stuffs it. 3rd and long. This is the third play of the drive. They got a pass, which is a short pass stuff. Drake Bowen stuffs the speed option. 3rd and long. Hurd gets beaten like me covering by Ennis, the true freshman, on the drag route, 19 yards. It was like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9.
He's a sophomore, but
is he a sophomore now?
4 wide receiver. That must be nice, Tim.
That's your 4th guy, another 5-star. That's what I said the other day on our show. Carnell Tate is their 3rd guy. He will never be wide receiver 1 at Ohio State. He's Notre Dame's Michael Floyd by a mile. If they had Carnell Tate, it's a different ball game because they have a presence on the outside. But 3rd and long, Ennis beats Hurd. Then Burnham gets a sack. Then it's a 2-minute timeout. It's 3rd and 7. And then Gray gets beat on a square and Burnham gets another sack. Only a minute 20 before halftime. 2nd and long, you give this is the one I wrote down. Gray's given Smith a 10-yard cushion on 2nd and long. They just run a hitch. Smith breaks it for 15 yards. There's your Watts PBU, Mike. And then on 2nd and 10, Howard keeps it for 15 yards on 2nd and freaking 10. A couple plays later, touchdown. It's like the same thing. They had multiple opportunities on 3rd and long, 2nd and long to just cause havoc, and they just didn't. And that goes back to playmakers at Ohio State. They had playmakers at key times. Yeah. Like you're saying, a Watts interception, a Schuler
just needed it. They needed more of those.
They had a couple PBUs. Leonard Moore.
Special teams, Tim.
Yeah,
special teams didn't do it. Defense.
A wash.
The defense had the one turnover, with Kingston, but it just needed to be a complete team performance, and I don't think it was. A couple updates over here, Tim. Tweet from Tyler Horka, Blue and Gold. Riley Leonard just apologized to Notre Dame Nation for the way he played the second quarter. He said, quote, unacceptable. Tyler added, no apology no apology necessary, excuse me. He played his heart out and left it all out there. Irish had a chance to mount a major comeback largely because of him. He's a gamer. Marcus Freeman said that Notre Dame attempting a 27-yard field goal trailing 31-15 with 9:30 left was because he felt from that point it would be easier to score 13 points down the stretch than it would be to score 16.
Yep.
He felt needing 9 yards for a touchdown was asking too much. I get it, but man,
I was fine with the field goal. Oh God, man, they couldn't complete a damn pass. They had incomplete. It's fourth down, dude. You need some points because you can't win a game unless you score points. So what's the odds of Riley Leonard scrambling around and they're going to flood because Ohio State could beat you rushing 4. They got dudes that could beat you rushing 4. So it's like take points, and if you look at it, if you had those points, he doinked it for crying out loud, Mike. If he makes the field goal,
that's what I'm saying. Defense, special teams just didn't get it done. Get it done today.
31-26 game. You take away they gifted them a field goal after the Faison drop. So it sucks. Special teams. Ohio State won special teams, and Notre Dame's been outstanding. And that's what sucks when you lose in a championship game. Like people are like, well, why did we leave Gray on an island? Well, he was on an island against Penn State and got the pick. The setup the game winner was Jeter's got one of the most legendary kicks in the history of Notre Dame football. So they didn't do it tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tim, like this Ohio State team, like that USC game on the road was like USC was like a poor man's version of Ohio State. Like USC's like how they were able to move the football was kind of like a taste of what we were going to see later. There was a little foreshadowing, in my opinion. And USC's defense was bad enough that Notre Dame could get in that shootout and ultimately win that game. But I mean, Tim, the rushing yardage for these two teams, Ohio State had 214 yards on the ground to Notre Dame's 53. Now, I know that is in large part due to you're coming from behind, you're throwing the ball a lot more. But Tim, Riley Leonard had 9 rushing attempts on that first drive. I believe that rush attempt number 9 came like several drives later. Like it was a while. It's very loud in here now.
Yeah, I just heard that. But I was going to say, here's the drive. So it's 7-7. Here's my notes. First play, nice pocket. Horrible ball on the crosser. That guy's running, and he overthrows him on a crosser, we forget. False start, 2nd and 10, false start Collins. And then they hit Collins on the drag. It would have been 3rd and 1, which they're going to give it to Riley Leonard, keep the ball drive going. Instead, Jagasaw gets the hold, which sucks because they actually picked up the twist. Excellent twist. He picked up the looper really good. What can you do? The dude hasn't played in 370 days at left tackle, and he's playing his butt off, and then it's a dump. So you can't run the ball because they didn't even attempt to run the ball on that drive. So you got a whole entire third drive with 3 passes. And then you come right back to the second one, 2 out of 3 passes. So you're up, which you just said, Mike, pounding the rock. You go 80 yards, 9.5 minutes. Then the next 2 drives, the game's only 7-7, 14-7. You throw the football 5 out of 6 plays and you punt. So Notre Dame's identity is run the ball, play action, dink it, dunk, whatever it is. 5 out of 6 pass plays called. Back-to-back 3 and outs. Boom. Ohio State just gets the mojo and goes. And let's also take a quick pause and talk about you hate to use an excuse, but it's reality. The injuries piled up, the depth, as good as it was. That's why I go back to the Judkins. Everyone go back to the Judkins 70-yard run. Howard Cross is an icon for Notre Dame forever, the way he's played the last really 3 years during this entire Freeman 3 years. All-American last year, injured on and off this year. The dude played with 1 foot. Rocco Spindler played with 1 foot today. Rocco, you could tell, was hurting. Played his butt off at right guard. So many injuries. And like I said, in that 70-yard run, you got Bryce Young, who should be 3rd-string DNs out there. Heinisch gets just double-teamed, pancaked at like 2 feet under the ground. Cross blown back. Burnham double team down, and it's just duo cutback with Judkins, who's a stud. And the depth, a lot of guys got a lot of playing time, a lot of rep, a lot of guys coming back. They have to replace, we talked about this the other night, graybeards, man. They got to replace a lot of dudes. Freeman's been here 3 years, and just look at the guys that know every single thing about Marcus Freeman and Kaiser, Cross, Watts, Mills, 4 big time leaders, But then on the flip side of that, man, you got boatloads of young talent, boatloads of guys coming back. The issue, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox for 12 seconds here, is who in the hell is going to play on the interior? It's going to be about interior defensive line for us next year. I know they got a couple of the transfers, but they got to really solidify that. Is anyone going to step up that has been recruited in that 22, 23 class? And then it's going to be wide receiver with a brand new quarterback. So those are going to be some big talking things. Notre Dame's going to be a preseason top 5 team because they got a lot of damn talent, a lot of talent coming back. They will be preseason.
Yeah.
I'm expecting top 3. I think they're going to get a lot of hype and a lot of buzz. So that's really good as they prep for Miami game 1 and their quarterback, Mr. Carson Beck.
Yeah. Tim, could we just
take
it? We have a long off season. Actually, it's kind of a shorter off season, considering how long this season went. But just Nick, thank you for the 50 bomb. Mike, stop being delusional. This is the same as 2012 and 18. Man, how are you gonna say, Mike, stop being effing delusional when you give me $50? So
well, first off, thank you for the $50.
Yeah, Nick, what the hell are you talking about? What was the score in 2012? 45-14? What was the score, Tim?
Yeah, 42-14, 35-14,
and then 30-3 in 2018, right? 33.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was 23-3 at halftime.
Bro, what the hell are you talking about?
No,
it was not over at half, Nick. You're out of your damn mind. They were playing. They had an opportunity to win that game. You're out of your damn mind, Nick.
Nick's complaining. Nick can complain all he wants. It was over at halftime, sure, and they cut it down to a 1-score game.
Crazy.
And on 3rd and 11, their future top 3 pick in the NFL draft got a 50-yard pass. That's what happens. Great players make big-time plays at key moments in the game. It's a 60-minute game. Notre Dame battled their asses off, and you go from there.
Yeah, Nick, thank you for the $50 soup chat. You could have done that in $1.99.
Yeah, you're losing.
It just, that's just wrong. It was not over at halftime.
No,
I think it would have been over at halftime in a Brian Kelly team. I really do believe that, but
this team battled.
This team battled. Patrick said outscored them in the second half. Notre Dame had 16 to Ohio State's 13. But the problem was that second quarter was just,
it's
Notre Dame
and 2-3 and out Notre Dame.
I know this is a big if, but if you take out the second quarter, Notre Dame wins that game 23-13. But of course, you can't do that because that second quarter was abysmal, Tim. But
Weiss teams were never in these games, so I don't know who.
Nick, it's okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Tim,
people are going nuts now.
Okay, going back to what I was saying for that super shot, like, how do you think you're going to look back at this season? Because they beat A&M on the road, right? You get that nice win at USC. It wasn't like some marquee win, but you beat USC on the road by 2 touchdowns. That's nice, right? You beat Indiana in the first game in the 12-team college football playoff, and then you're good, buddy. Come on through. You're good. No, you're fine, dude. You beat the SEC champs, the number 2 seed Georgia. You beat Penn State in a thriller, and then that, even though Nick will say otherwise, was not 2012 or 2018. Like, that was not it. So
a 1-score game with 2 freaking minutes.
So Tim, it's not a moral victory thing, but you had huge wins, and no, you didn't get embarrassed in that game with literally everyone watching. So how do you think you'll view this? Did it fall short of the ultimate goal? Yes, Tim. But that's.
But you and I have talked about
a great season.
You and I have talked about this. It's like, obviously the ultimate goal is to win a national title, of course. but there are great seasons and great seasons. You know what I mean? There's epic, iconic seasons. That's where you get your your year on the Play Like a Champions, national title sign down there in the locker. They didn't reach that. We got it. They didn't. But at the same time, man, they haven't won a big bowl game since A&M after the 93 season. They have lost 11 straight, all right? 11 straight games in the postseason against the top 10. They just went 3-1 against the top 10. 3 games. They beat Indiana, you beat Georgia, the SEC champs, and you beat Penn State, who took this Ohio State team obviously down to the wire when they played in Happy Valley. So, and just lost an epic game against Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. So you beat a top 10 team in Indiana and back-to-back bowl games. Back-to-back bowl games, not just bowl games. They won the freaking Sugar Bowl, which is an iconic game, and the Orange Bowl back-to-back. So for where we were after NIU when you and I did a show and we didn't want to do a show and we had to do a show, I mean, come on, let's all be honest. I mean, Notre Dame fan, everyone, come on. We were prepping for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, all right? We were prepping for the Sun Bowl, back-to-back Sun Bowl trips, and they rallied and they got going. I had the Louisville game on the other day, just watching in the background as I was cleaning up a bunch of Christmas stuff. I know you're pro, put everything away December 26th. We were a little slow this year. And I had the game on, and that was a hell of a football game. That was a great win. And they just got momentum, man. They got momentum. So it's a hell of a year, man. They went 14-2. You go 14-2. So, and you lose to Ohio State, who I'm going to scream, Mike, because they can't beat these damn guys. They can't beat the Buckeyes, for crying out loud. So one of these years they will get Ohio State, and it will be epic, and we will all cheer like crazy. But I've been saying it. I believe it now more watching this season, watching Freeman, watching his assistants, watching these players, watching who they're getting in the portal. Notre Dame can compete in this era. They can. They can, and they showed it.
Yeah, they just did. I mean, they deserve to be.
They could compete. Notre Dame is Notre Dame football. They had a massive lull between 1997 and 2011. The worst period of Notre Dame football. And ever since 2012, man, they've been in this thing a handful of times now. They top 5 in wins. So it's not act like, this is some scrub program. It's not. They got to get over the damn hump, and they're not going to do it until they get.
But I would argue they
a wide receiver.
There's maybe 2 like speed bumps, right? Like you said, get over the hump. But maybe there was 2 in front of the Irish. They got over the 1, right? Everyone wants to talk about winning a national championship first time since '88, but what about just like win a big bowl game, right? Notre Dame hasn't done that in decades. So you did 2 of them, epic ones, Georgia and Penn State. So you got over that one. You haven't done the championship hurdle yet. But I mean, this team is, culture, man. Like everyone wants to talk about the $20 million roster thing, but the culture of this team, like Tim, this was a 1-score ball game late, and that Ohio State team, I don't know how the hell they lost 2 football games this year. That is an incredible football team.
Well, they lost at Oregon by 1 point, and Oregon went.
Yeah, and then of course,
you know what I mean?
The boogeyman.
And then the boogeyman is Michigan. They have a Michigan problem. Yeah. They do.
Lewis, thanks for the $20, brother.
They do. And they get. I mean, I can't even listen to some of these clowns, but anyway, it is what it is. People just want to complain, enjoy life, man. There's enough to do in this world, but whatever. No, it's a hell of a year, man. 14-2. This team's going to be hungry. There's a lot of guys, like Freeman said, I'm looking forward to listening to him on the way home. And
let me see if he's got
what he's done over 3 years, and it's a hungry team. It's a hungry program. They're getting some good
real quick.
And go ahead.
Golden commented on the Bengals report. Sorry. He said, I'm sorry, I can't even fathom thinking about anything right now other than what we just experienced. So Al Golden does not want to talk about.
Yeah, he's not going to say anything.
Yeah, he's obviously not going to, but just wanted to keep you guys updated. Tim, before I throw it back to you, let me just scroll.
Nothing
else notable from the press conference. Lewis, appreciate the 20 here. Justin with 199. The boys fought against the Avengers tonight. And Rocco with the 10 here. Really appreciate it. But
that's a good point. The Avengers, as in, I know we hear about the $20 million roster, but the $20 million roster was giving those guys NFL bonuses to come back. That's what you do. That's NIL. That's what they did. They brought back so many of their guys that could have gone pro. Mike, give me because you know some of these guys. These are their fifth-year seniors. Top 50 tight end G. Scott, Cody Simon, who was the top 100. Ransom, obviously a blue chip safety. Josh Fryer, their right tackle. And then Ty Hamilton, their stud, who's going to get drafted. This is the 2021 class, Mike. You've been around recruiting a couple of years. These are the true seniors. How many of these guys could have went pro? Jack Sawyer, JT, number 44. They were the 4th and 5th players ranked in their class. Donovan Jackson's going to be a first-round pick, the left tackle. Igbuka is a freak. Travion Henderson, Jordan Hancock, who played DB nickel. Tyleek Williams, Denzel Burke. Those are all top 150 football players that all came back. So who the hell's replacing those guys? That's a lot of old football players. And Notre Dame battled their tails back and got back into that game.
What do you think about the Super Jet, Tim? How much do we think the defense is Freeman's first goal?
Yeah, this is an interesting thing because I always love when fans. Well, it's that when you read comments like that, it's almost like people aren't involved. I think you are. I think coaches are involved. The head football coach watches a lot of film. You know what I mean? It's still a lot of the same look and feel of what Freeman did in 21. If anything, they've grown into the philosophy of this is what we want to do. And I think that's what a young football coach does in Marcus Freeman. As you start coaching, he now wants to recruit away. He wants to look away. He wants to play a certain way. He wants, when teams put on a film, and you heard some of the interviews with Ryan Day. ESPN did a couple really good ones with Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman together. And you could hear what Ryan Day's saying about Notre Dame is exactly what Freeman wants. Coaches, obviously it's coach talk when they're together, but still those comments are, bam, you put on the tape, that's a Notre Dame football team. And I think Marcus Freeman has evolved and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's 4-man rush. They're blitzing a Mike and a Will. Freeman did that at Cincinnati, and they're playing man all over the place. So it's nothing, cosmic craziness. It's a lot of straight man, and they're getting guys to play the scheme. So long story, I think Marcus Freeman's a hell of a lot more involved, and I don't think we're going to see drastic change. They're not going to run a 50 cover 2 next year.
Yeah.
So they're it's the D will not change because they've recruited to that. Sure. Chad Bowden, all these guys are recruiting. Portal. I mean, look at the portal. Look who they got in the portal. The same guys they've been doing.
Nickel, right.
You know what
it changes, I mean? It could slightly change based on just personnel and game, but it's the defense.
And great coordinators, and real quick, great coordinators leave. So Al Golden being at Notre Dame for 3 years, that's like coaching.
That's what you would expect.
9. Okay, 3 years at Notre Dame, and you're winning. You're gonna get promoted.
Yeah, 100%.
Gonna get promoted. So
they're
very excited for him.
Yeah, Chase, appreciate the 5. Colin, appreciate the 5. Ohio State's first touchdown to Smith. Same thing that Bama did against Ohio State in 2020. Damn, that was such a strange thing. And then Paul for the 20. Thanks for the great work you do. You guys are always the first stop after the Irish game. Paul, appreciate you. Yeah, it was like Gray clearly picked up on something, right? And then when Smith goes in motion, Gray runs that way, but then does not come back. Like, I don't know if Gray was like, someone else has Smith. I've got the running back or something. And man, like, I don't know what that was. But
I rewatched that thing 17 times, and it's like, dude, you have the nickel. So whenever you have the slots on the line, he's the outside, and your press man, they're not going to bump. So obviously Clark playing the slot right there is playing press man. They're not bumping. So I think Gray's just alerting because he's tight and off, like they were talking on the TV. He starts to go orbit motion, which is exactly Devontae Smith. I actually wrote that down. Sark ran it again this year at Texas. Hell, he scored a touchdown against Alabama when they beat Alabama. What was that last year? That was Bama's only loss till Michigan. The same type of play, so they do that a lot. Gray, I have no idea, man, because everybody, first off, it's inside the damn red zone, so everyone's matched up on man, and if he's running all the way over, well, what are the safeties doing? It was a complete, I don't know, overreaction, because I'm sitting there watching it, and I've obviously called a lot of man defense in my days, and if you're not bumping guys over, your eyes stay on that guy because that is your number one. They call it number one. You're not flipping the new number one, excuse me, just getting into stupid terms. In his eye, he loses his eyes. I'm like, what the hell? Because Drake Bowen's in there. Drake Bowen's not going to count that guy as my new back because he has the other back. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what Chip Kelly was trying to do, get them to bump, miscommunicate, and put Bowen on him. And I don't know what the hell Christian Gray was doing.
So, Tim, Jaden Greathouse was like a different man these past 2 games than he was like all season. Like this was, I mean, he went from like he's a nice player. Maybe this game on any given Saturday, he'll have like a 4 catch for 50-yard game, and then we'll be all happy because Notre Dame had a wide receiver with 50 yards. But this is different, Tim. Like Jaden Greathouse, I mean, you lost. This sucks. But going into the offseason, I mean, he's got to be, I mean, sky high vibes for him. I mean, you have Malachi Fields in the boundary, maybe like a phase on out to the field, and then Greathouse in the slot. Like, can you tell me what you thought about Greathouse tonight and maybe his outlook for next year?
Oh, great! I mean, great. It's the same thing we talked about last year. It's the same darn thing. What is this guy? I can't even talk to this guy. Gaslighting, but whatever. No, Greathouse is everything we thought. It's going back to our talks during the year, like, why isn't Mitch Evans involved? Why isn't Greathouse involved? Those types of things. It just felt like the past game was just so spread out at times instead of highlighting certain individuals at moments. Maybe he just trusted him more, and they started going to him. Greathouse is a damn good football player. When they recruited him, he was a damn good football player. Played a ton last year. He's a true slot because he's not that good outside. And obviously he had to play outside last year because of injuries, and he was not as successful. I mean, he was going to be a freshman All-American after the first month, and he got injured. And then he misses a month and then comes back. So the pass game was just interesting all year because Riley's not a true passing quarterback. That's why, man, that's another thing I wrote down is one of these days, man, I would love to know the backstory because they were, when they started evaluating, it was Will Howard versus Riley Leonard. Will Howard was, when you watch film of K-State and Duke, the way better quarterback as far as a passer goes. And I think we saw that with him at Ohio State. Just his decision, the way he throws. Riley sometimes gets happy feet. He had it again today. Hell, he stepped up into a freaking sack. It's like, dude, how do you not see 44 right there? How do you not know he's right there? He walks right into the freaking sack. So I'm curious to know that whole backstory. But Riley's a gamer. He is what he is. Unbelievable competitor. And he gutted Notre Dame to this freaking national title.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, I don't know how well Will Howard would have fit with this offense, considering the leaky O-line play at times.
But Will Howard can run.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
an athlete, man.
That's true.
He's an athlete. We didn't see him do the athletic stuff because they got wide receivers. This goes back to the whole philosophy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The thing I've been talking about forever. When you got wide receivers on the outside, you have to respect them. It opens up the run game. Your run game gets opened up when you got to cover receivers. And Ohio State has NFL receivers all over the place. So it totally changes the whole mindset. At Notre Dame, you could put 8 guys in the box because who the hell are you worried about outside? You're not worried about Bo Collins. You're not worried about Jaden Thomas. You're not worried about these guys on the outside. So it's a different mindset. So that's why Will Howard, if Will Howard was at Notre Dame, I think he would have ran just as many QB powers. He's not as fast, doesn't have the little wiggle that Riley has. And
Sure.
Riley's obviously, Riley's good. He had a hell of a season. This is one of the best quarterback seasons at Notre Dame. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, Louis, appreciate the the 20. I don't really understand your point. It's the fans' fault that Notre Dame lost tonight. Apparently, I'm not worried about that. Tim, what else do you want to talk about with this game?
I mean, Charles Jagasaw played. It was nice to see Charles out there for the entire game. He had some nice blocks. It's funny. You're sitting there and you're like, the guy's out with a freaking peck all year, and he's out there trying to probably couldn't long arm. There's a couple you're like, man, extend. That's just getting back in the groove, getting back into the play of things. But it was just the flow, man. That's that second quarter. It's the back-to-back 3-and-outs, and they couldn't get Ohio State off the field for 2 drives. That's the killer. That's the killer, man. They could not stop. Chip Kelly was just rolling today, man. Seriously, whatever he called. And then there's key, like I read off some of those plays. It's 3rd and 9, and they catch a 19-yard crosser. It's and then it's 3rd and this, and they're playing off, and Smith breaks it for a 15-yard hitch. Things of that nature. So, it's just frustrating. Obviously, at the end result. But also the end result, Ohio State was, I think, the better football team coming in. That's why they were an 8.5, 9-point favorite, and we're going to see it at the NFL Combine. We're going to see it at the April draft. We're going to have 12, 13 guys drafted next season. It's just the nature of it.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame just ran into a better football team.
Yes.
Right? I said this in a little short TikTok, Twitter, Instagram video I posted today. Is like, I think Ohio State's a better football team. They just are up and down. They're just a better football team. But Notre Dame needed to get a turnover, get a defensive and or special team score to out-coach them like Notre Dame has done in the past couple games. And Ohio State played well. And Notre Dame didn't do those things. They just didn't. I mean, Leonard played. I mean, remember Leonard having a really good passing game against Stanford, but I mean, he didn't have a great passing game against Georgia at 90 yards. Penn State throws a couple picks, right? I mean, this game, 22-31 for 255, 2 touchdowns, and also had 40 rushing yards and a touchdown. Leonard played his absolute butt off. Greathouse played well. 7 rushing attempts between Price and Love was wild.
But going back real quick with Will Howard, that was the thing. All the talking and watching film and all that is you got to make Will Howard shaky, and he never was. You got to make him see ghost. You got to make him do something he's not comfortable. The dude was comfortable. Look at his mannerisms. Look at his facial expressions. Look at the way he was interacting with his team in that whole entire first half. The dude was in absolute control of that game. And Notre Dame leads the country in interceptions. They didn't get any. And that was the goal, was to try and bait him into an interception. They just didn't.
Yeah, Howard was good.
There's no picks. And they needed that one damn pick just to, just to stop some mojo somehow, and they just didn't. And that's what's so frustrating, because the D's done it all damn year long, Yeah.
Howard was named the, I think it was offensive MVP of the game. GPC 31. Appreciate the big boy $100 super chat. Very proud of this team and grateful for your hard work and analysis. Thank you, Mike Singer, Mike Goolsby, and Tim. GPC, appreciate it very much. Got to meet Goolsby for the first time. When I first stood next to Goolsby, I was shocked at how close we were in height, because Goolsby was listed at 6'4", and I'm like 6'2.5", and I thought our eyeballs were level. But it was really great meeting Goolsby, and I look forward to getting him on the show whenever we can this week.
So the football programs are off in the height. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, right? Or maybe he shrunk a little bit, or maybe I've gotten taller. I don't know. But GPC, I really appreciate the 100. You guys have been incredible with the super chats tonight. Jeff Moore with the 100, Mike Boylson with the 100 earlier, and Donnie White as well. Really, really appreciate you guys. And then Alex just a minute ago. Respect and appreciate the balance, but passionate commentary. Need to replace free safety and quarterback in this team. Will be nasty next year. They got the free safety and Jalen Stroman from Virginia. Quarterback. they tell, replace those guys. Yeah, I mean, you're going to replace everyone at least, but they got Jalen Stroman from Virginia Tech, and I expect it to be Angeli or Carr. I mean, I guess don't count out Minchie, but I'm personally not expecting him to, be one of the top 2 quarterbacks on the depth chart next year. I think it's an Angeli Carr race. A lot of buzz out there nationally that it's going to be Carr, but I don't know. We'll see. That'll definitely be a big talking point, and I'm looking forward to it this spring, Tim. It's been, since Freeman's first year that we had this kind of quarterback battle, like the Pine Buckner going into Freeman's first year, but we all kind of knew it would be Buckner. So I can't remember the last time you went into a quarterback battle at Notre Dame. We were like, I could see it going either way. It's been a while.
Yeah,
right?
Wimbish in 17, because Zaire, Kaiser went pro and Zaire transferred out. So everyone knew it was going to be Wimbush, obviously, and then Book takes over for, ends up being the guy in 18, 19, 20. 21 was Cohen, obviously, with the transfer. So,
right.
He was going to win that thing. Buckner 22, because he played all of 21 so much. The prep for 22.
Right.
22 Hartman, Riley 24. Yeah, 15 was Zaire. 15 was Zaire because he had prepped in 13, 14 was the one that helped win the starting quarterback when they beat LSU in the Citrus Bowl. So he started 15. Then Kaiser comes in. It was a Kaiser-Zaire battle in 16, but Deshaun Kaiser is the better quarterback.
Yeah.
That's why he ended up winning it and took that whole thing
Yeah.
over. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Since we've had who really knows, I'm not going to put a number on it, but
it's 2012 with Reese and Golson. Golson's red shirt. Tommy was the guy in 11, but Golson beat him out. So that was probably the last time. Was 2012.
Jason, the $20 super chat. Thank you, Mike, Tim, and Goolsby for all your content. So proud of our team. Great season. We're running back next year. Go Irish. Jason really appreciates the $20 super chat. Again, GPC 31 appreciate the 100. Michael Crawley, Mike and Tim, appreciate the work you guys do. Notre Dame is just getting started. Championships to come. I know it stings right now, but this is 1,000,000,000% a season that you are going to look back on. I got to ban an LSU fan. Hold on.
LSU? What the hell is he in here for?
That you're going to feel very proud of.
The LSU guy talk. What the hell? LSU, what did they win? Like the Texas Bowl?
Yeah,
they won the Texas Bowl against Baylor. The Texas Bowl. I've never watched the Texas Bowl, by the way. So they won the Texas Bowl. So let the LSU guy talk all he wants. Are you kidding me? That's I like that. Kudos to that guy for coming in here.
So Tim, usually we will watch some film. Just given my setup right now, we're not going to do that. We will do that in our next show. Oh, I don't know, Tim. I want to do a show tomorrow night. Do you want to do a show tomorrow night? Do you think you could do a show tomorrow night, like our weekly show?
Wednesday, I'm pretty swamped. I might.
Wait, Tuesday would be. Well, it would be tonight. Tuesday.
I gotta get up in a few hours, but
yeah.
I'll text with you. I'll text with you early in the morning.
Okay, so either the show Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. So we'll dive into some things with Tim, and then Goolsby don't know. I know Goolsby's traveling somewhere for work, and then he's a busy guy. He's exhausted. Goolsby is exhausted from this run. He's been working his ass off with his day job and with what he does for us in his Patreon. So, so you can, you want to come talk about the game? This is Tyler Horka.
What's up, Tyler?
How was the press conference, man? What'd you think?
How was the tears?
The tone.
He can't hear you, Tim.
I can't hear you, Tim, but a lot of tears. Riley Leonard, Jack Kaiser, inconsolable. Rightfully so. They were struggling through their answers. Marcus Freeman was more distraught than I've ever seen. But I left it feeling like this team feels like it's going to be back, even though those guys won't be. Like Notre Dame is on the rise. The game obviously didn't go the way that they wanted it to, but they fought and they made it a game in the second half when it looked like they were not going to. And I think that's the character of this team. And I think this program is is looking up as much as it can after you just lose the national championship game.
Yeah. For your prediction of Notre Dame winning, were you like me, where you were like heart Notre Dame, brain Ohio State?
Yeah, no, I always tend to pick with my head. I picked with my gut this time.
Yeah.
I thought Notre Dame was a special team and was actually I really thought that Notre Dame was gonna win that football game. And then they kind of made me start believing it again in the second half, but 31-7, you pretty much knew it was over. I didn't foresee that.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, you go. You go ahead. All right, Jack, you're up.
Am I tall enough for this? There we go.
Jack,
Are we live?
we are live.
Oh, wow.
What thoughts on what you just saw tonight?
Yeah, I think I should go into what we saw in the locker room.
Okay, let's go to that.
Yeah, because y'all
Was it an
watched the game.
open locker
Yeah, it was
room?
an open locker room. Y'all watched the game, but y'all were not in the locker room. I mean, talk about a team that wasn't just happy to be here. I mean those guys were devastated, distraught.
They thought they were going to win. Like,
Yeah, the vibe in talking to the guys was like they thought Ohio State building that lead was primarily the result of Notre Dame shooting itself in the foot. And they thought they just got back to their game. They just kept punching. I asked Pat Coogan like how Notre Dame got back in it. Rocco Spindler next to him says, keep blank punching.
say the blank. What was the blank?
The blank was fucking. The word was you keep fucking punching. Are we not allowed to say that in live?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh well. But like it was like Jordan Clark is just kind of staring off into space, tears in his eyes. Jack Kaiser and Riley Leonard walked in from the press conference like eyes red as I've ever seen in an athlete after a game. Like Christian Gray, we saw walking out of the locker room with a towel over his head. I mean, the kid
I feel so bad for Christian.
The kid is devastated. It's just this was a team that thought they had a chance to win. Like once the emotions kind of wash over them, they'll realize that like they accomplished some incredible things this season. But it sure is hard to keep that perspective in the moment. But the other vibe I got in the locker room is that no one here thinks that this was a fluke. This team is going to be back here. This team is gonna keep making the playoff. And as long as you make the playoff, you'll have a chance to win some games. And it's not going to be another 30 years before this team wins a major bowl game again, Mike.
All right, Jack, you can go ahead to your seat.
Appreciate it.
Yep. How about that? How about that? Just the guys just walking up from the press conference. I was like, hop on. What are you talking about? All right, I haven't been checking the chat. Let me see if we got any new super chats. I talked about Michael Crawley's. Appreciate the 10 there. I just want to go back to the big super chats from tonight. GPC 31 with 100, Jeff Mower with 100, Mike Boylson with the 200, and that's all that's showing for me. I think there were a couple others, but man, you guys have been absolutely incredible tonight. Austin said, "Finally have service walking out of the stadium. This hurts. Field goal attempt was the first time I've question marks in a long time." I truly am a 50-50 thing on that. Like, I would have been fine personally for either way. Go for it. It's a two-score game either way. One person said on the message board, I think it was Juicy J, he said, I think the field goal like would have continued to build momentum. It's like, okay, like I can see that, but I'm honestly fine with it either way.
But they get points. They get points. You get another touchdown. All of a sudden, it's a one-score game, so it's points. That's why I'm like, when you're third and backed up and goal to goal at the 8-9, whatever it is, those aren't easy touchdowns, especially with Ohio State athletes. So they needed points, and hell, it worked out. They ended up getting it down to 8 points. So two great, the shovel and then the pass from Faison and the 2-point plays were great 2-point plays. So those are sharp. So yeah, I have no problem with that. I saw someone in the chat saying, "Why do we do the fake punt?" Because it worked. He dropped the damn football.
Right.
What did he do? So. And that's obviously trying to get momentum back after Ohio State just was obliterating the momentum and just took the ball game over.
You guys are going to record stand-up?
So that was that was a biggie. But no, it was a tough one, man. It was a gut punch. I'm sure that locker room. I'm glad it was open. Those guys got to see those guys, and those guys deserved it. I mean, I always talk about the analytics and stuff like that, but it's like when you go off the ESPN Power Index, Ohio State was 1, Notre Dame was 2. So obviously this was not a fluke. Game control this year, game control, all games. Ohio State 1, Notre Dame 3. Strength of record, meaning you're the best team on the football field. They were number 1, Ohio State was 3. So Notre Dame was overall team efficiencies. This is what I love. Special teams, offense, defense, efficiencies, meaning once again, if it's 3rd and 3, 4 yards, first down, that's efficient. 3rd and 6, you stop them, that's efficient. These are the two best overall team efficient teams. Ohio State was 90.1, Mike. Notre Dame 89.5. That's how close these two teams were. And it was a one-score game with, 2 minutes to go. And, it was a battle. Those dudes battled their asses off. To say otherwise is just wrong.
I want to talk about this comment from Brandon. He said, "Are we ever going to get over the academic obstacle?"
No.
So,
no. The academic obstacle is, but that's Notre Dame. Is he saying to take in the 2.2 GPA guys? Hell no, that's never going to happen.
But like obstacle one, Notre Dame embraces it now. It's like it's about getting the highest academic kids who are also the highest football players, or the best football players. But like,
go for it.
The injury bug was the bigger problem than any academic obstacles. Like, if you have Ben Morrison opposite Leonard Moore, and you have Christian Gray,
they're playing third string DNs in the last half of the
Boubacar
season.
Traore and Botello are healthy. Like, you have a full go J Love. Like, your O line is what you played to have at the starting of the season. Now everyone's gonna have injuries, but the academic obstacle, you beat Georgia. You beat Penn State. Like, you beat A&M on the road. I don't think you're watching this game. You're like, shit, man, that academic obstacle. Like, no, you're not. Like, Notre Dame is going to finish in the college football playoff final poll, Tim, as the number 2 team in the country.
They haven't been there since 93. In 2012, they lost. They went from they were 1. They got blown out. They dropped from 1 to 5. No respect. 2018, they went from 3 to 5. 2020, they dropped from 4 to 5. So this is their highest finish since 1993 when they finished 1. But we all know they finished 2, according to the idiots, even though they beat Florida State. But anyway, this is the highest ranked football team since 1993. So I know we talk academics, but I've been a Notre Dame fan my entire life. There's plenty of dudes out there that go to class. And once again, we're not recruiting Harvard guys. We're not recruiting 4.5 GPA guys. There are plenty of dudes on this team that have a 2.8 with a solid SAT score, ACT score, whatever you got. So there's plenty of those. Notre Dame just went – Mike knows this because I've said it many times on the show. There's no standards at Ohio State. 0. The only standard is the lowest one for the NCAA. Okay, that is the standard. It's a JUCO academically. It just is. How do I know? Because I've had guys recruited by Ohio State, and I know. And Notre Dame, dude, Notre Dame went toe-to-toe with those clowns last year. They were in the 4th quarter at the Horseshoe in Freeman's first game ever, okay, with Tyler Buckner at freaking quarterback, for crying out loud. And this year, man, they battled their butts off up early, got owned in the 2nd quarter, and then came back and got this damn thing going. So, as life goes, no, Notre Dame's fine. Notre Dame, there's more than enough good football players. Boubacar Traore, a good football player. They're going to get him back. Look at all the players making plays. Leonard Moore. I mean, is Leonard Moore an academic guy that's haunting Notre Dame? Hell no. There's plenty of Leonard Moores out there. You got to find them and keep getting them, and they will do that.
All right, everyone, calm your tits about Aeneas. Why is everyone yelling at me? Where was Aeneas Williams? Guys, he freaking played. He's a 3rd down back. He played. Like, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Like,
there was no run game. There was no run game because you're down 20.
No, it's like he plays too much. We complain that Aeneas plays too much, and then he doesn't play as much. We complain that J Love doesn't get enough touches.
He loves
and now we're complaining that Aeneas isn't getting enough. Like, I mean, come on.
I think J Love battled. I don't think Notre Dame was not going to say he's injured. You know what I mean? Because he is the freaking opposite. Excuse me. They weren't going to report that he's injured and out. I think Jeremiah Love was extremely banged up, and he showed that.
Yeah.
Ever since that 98-yard touchdown run, he has struggled.
Colt, appreciate the 5. Michael, appreciate the 20. Keep the Irish team together and keep this blue and gold team together. NIL needed on and off the field. Notre Dame guys can win. Choose hard. Michael, really appreciate the generous super chats tonight. Paul Singer, Paul says Singer recruiting is about to get a boost, right? Yeah. I mean,
It's recruiting.
got a big junior day on the 25th. We'll see how that goes. And Rob's with the very, very generous $50 super chat says Ross Dellinger reported Tim Hyde, the top candidate to replace Al Golden. Tim, do you have any thoughts?
Hey, I love Ross Dellinger. Let me see if he's texted me and asked me my opinion. But no, hey, just dude, Al Golden. Once again, it's Al Golden. This entire defensive staff. What they've done is once again they've built a philosophy, a core philosophy on how they want to play football, and that is going to continue. So when Al Golden goes to the NFL, he helped build this damn thing, and whoever replaces him, whether it's Mickens or they go get another old graybeard. I mean, maybe Freeman likes having Denbrock and another old guy next to him. Who knows?
Sure.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, but I feel like Freeman's about to be a graybeard himself, man.
Boy, when you've been at Notre Dame 3 years,
3 years,
gray hairs.
this playoff run, like, for me personally, Tim, I think that this year he's gone from it's always going to be nice to have those experienced guys around, but I don't think he needs it as much for him to learn how to be a head coach and all that stuff. Yeah, I think he's there. I think he's there after this. Like, what else is there to experience? The lows of the lows and the highs of the highs here. So, Tim, we are going to have to wrap up. My computer's about to die, and I don't have access to a charger right here. And I figure hour 20 minutes, we are good. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Tim, do you want final thoughts? Ohio State 34, Notre Dame 23 in the national championship game.
Great season. Amazing playoff run. Amazing everything that we've been I mean, I feel like we've done a show every 2 days, you and I, over this last month. So it has been a hell of a run, a hell of a season. Things that we haven't done in ages watching Notre Dame football. So good football team, man. I can't wait to – I don't want to watch this game, but I will watch this game again just to see some things. But at the end of the day, they had better football players. Notre Dame just was missing some key things. And Notre Dame, it's what's the key? I always go back to the great Jimmy Johnson I remember this quote as a young football coach when he took over the Dallas Cowboys. He always talked about outside perimeter talent and D-line. Those are the teams that win. Ohio State had the better D-line. Ohio State had the better wide receivers because those are hard to game plan around. So Notre Dame needs to get those edge guys, and we need a dude on the outside that could cause havoc. And Notre Dame's going to get there. We just got to keep pecking away and going. Notre Dame's going to be a preseason top 5. They're going to be right back in this damn hunt. Let's get ready for Miami down in South Beach, open the season.
Okay. All right. So that's going to do it for this show. TBD on shows tomorrow. I could see several different things, whether it's me and Tim or I'll do a call-in. Yeah, maybe I'll do a call-in show tomorrow. maybe I'll stay clear of that, or maybe get some of the blue and gold staff guys on, and then we'll definitely get Goolsby on this week, and we'll definitely get Tim on. You can always just follow me on Twitter at Mike T. Singer. I usually tweet out the shows the day of. So, all right, that's going to do it for hold on real quick. Do I have to ban someone? I do. I'm going to just trust the person who said ban Brian Walsh. I'm just going to trust them.
Okay, I mean, everybody said. Some people are out here just whining and complaining, man.
It's troll. Some troll fans.
Enjoy the season. Enjoy the season. Yeah. Good football games. Amazing football games. Huge blowouts. I saw a crazy stat the other day, Mike. What did Notre Dame have? 6 games, 49 points this year. Never happened in the history of Notre Dame football. Yeah. Never happened in you know how many years Notre Dame football has played for that to happen? So kudos to them. Let's just get ready. Dude, spring football starts in like 6 weeks, Mike. So let's get ready, okay?
Yeah. All right, let's get ready. You guys can do it right here at Blue and Gold. Notre Dame's season coming to an end. 14-2 season for the Irish. Wins in the Sugar Bowl and Orange Bowl. But yeah, that's going to do it, folks. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Mike Singer and Tim Hyde reporting after the national championship game. Ohio State 34, Notre Dame 23. Singer can't count. But yeah, that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time.